What's up guys, Jared on an island, back again with another video. Of course, you're gonna come with me on a journey to Atlantis as we walk this unknown trail that isn't marked yet. And we're gonna talk about three things. We're gonna talk about the overworked society that we live in and the consequences of fixing that. We're gonna talk about freedom of speech and how it no longer exists, if it ever even did exist, and was it inevitable that this was going to happen. And then we're also going to talk about trees. So come with me, have a little fun, enjoy the background environment, play this while you're working. If not, it's going to be a lot of talking. There's going to be some cinematography shots, and make sure to drop a like and please share what you think of this video. No matter how much you watch, I won't try to quiz you on any of it or anything like that, but yeah, I want to know your thoughts. I want to know how your thought process differs from mine. I know mine's unique, that's why you're watching. I hope yours is unique as well. There's no wrong answers, there's only different perspectives, but we will solve all of society's problems together for the 1,000 years ahead of us, because we care about the long-term consequences of things and how our great times 100 grandchildren will live. So come with me, let's go explore. All right, so as we walk through here, yeah, enjoy the environment, but okay, here we go. So the first thing on our list is an overworked society. What does that produce? We know we're being overworked. We know that we're not getting our fair wages. We're not really seeing the benefits of how much we're putting into society. Now, I've come to the conclusion that we are bound to make the same mistake that the previous generations have made, because we're not able to have, you know how people say empathy is putting yourself into the other shoes? Well, we need to put ourselves into the shoes of the future generation. And what would they say about our action? We have to realize that nothing's going to be 100% perfect, and there's going to be negatives to if we fix the problem. Now, we can understand that our priorities of life as an individual require us not to be slaves. But we also have to realize that there are benefits to the slave labor that we have now, which is ourself. And of course, if you don't agree with that, I would recommend you watch my other videos where we talk about how, because we live in such a materialistic society, it hides us from the fact that that materialism is simply a slave's reward for the day, and it doesn't really mean anything in terms of the value of life. So when we look at what's happening today, we see that in simple terms, America is the #1 producer of maybe not physical goods, but of production, let's just say that. From our GDP, from our companies that we create, we are innovators of the world. Now, that is also because we are one of the hardest working societies in the world. Japan is probably another one, and you see in their culture, you're supposed to work 12 hours a day, 5 days a week, sleep in the office. If you fall asleep in the office, it's a good sign because it shows you're really hard working. And in reality, we know that this type of lifestyle, the office lifestyle, isn't what life's supposed to be and isn't what we're aiming for. So, but the thing is that we gain stuff from that. And I just want to make people aware of what we're going to lose. Now, in a society where we correctly adjust for labor and we correctly calculate the trade-off between work and free time, like our medieval ancestors did, where they really only worked 4 to 5 hours a day on a passion they cared about, because they just end themselves if they didn't work on something they loved, or if they were forced not to, or just become nomads, travelers, soldiers. We kind of have some of those options today, but not as much, obviously. And those guys didn't have Temu. Those guys didn't have Amazon. They didn't have the ability to have $1 items from Dollar Tree to like kind of use to fill time or make things easier. And we're gonna have to be aware that that is going to come back if we get what we want. If we truly care about the quality of goods, we have to know that that comes with a trade-off, that we're not going to get the quantity of goods. And it goes really far. I've talked about this when it comes to food. Right now, it's extremely, extremely difficult for the average person to not eat seed oils. If we were to get rid of seed oils, sure, everyone is smart enough to know there's going to be an adjustment period, but even at maximum potential, we have to be aware that we may not have as much variety of food as we do now. In terms of easy access, healthy fast food will not be as readily available as non-healthy fast food. I'm sorry, but that's the reality of the situation. And this applies to everything else as well. Medical care possibly will not be as easy as it is now, but it will be higher quality. And honestly, this can go even to a larger discussion of what world population should be. Because if there isn't enough quantity for things, then the quantity of people may have to lower naturally or artificially, but we'll have to be careful with that discussion, because right now it's not like we'd be the ones deciding that, and we aren't. So going more into this quantity versus quality sort of discussion, we have to go, and I would recommend you change your lifestyle now to preserve the idea of quality over quantity. Honestly, just in general, for value of my life, I prefer one really expensive thing over 10 cheap things, okay? No matter what it is. You may say, well, what if you lose it? Okay, then you probably shouldn't have got it in the first place if you're losing it easily. Like, let's say sunglasses, okay? One extremely good pair of sunglasses, if you're losing it constantly, then you should have never got the sunglasses to begin with, honestly. You don't value it enough. If you get 10 cheap pairs of sunglasses and you lose all of them, that's still irresponsible of you. And you don't really care about the sunglasses to begin with. So why even wear them? And sure, you can say it's for your enjoyment of it, but okay, in a second here, there's gonna be some ATV guys crossing through, so my bad if I go quiet. But this applies to really anything when it comes to even something as simple as scissors. Most people can figure this out with hand tools when they think of their dad working on crafting stuff or whatever else. Or, houses. Everyone would rather have a quality house than a cheap one. Even if it comes with a cost, people would still rather have that trade-off. And, okay, this is gonna be cool right here. So, man, I wish I had a motorbike, man. That'd be so cool. All right, I gotta get out of their way. So, and you hear the chickens in the background. I gotta get some chickens too, man. I want some chickens in my life. Where are my glasses? Oh, in my pocket. Okay, so anyways, you still want one quality thing over all quantity of stuff. Oh, wow. How do they even have that here? I live in the suburbs. I'm relatively near my house. I don't understand. Okay. Anyways, this idea of quantity is gonna go away. If we were to have a just society in terms of what our vision is, we won't have access to Temu, China. We won't have access to as many goods as we have now in terms of just random stuff. We won't have TV commercials. Well, I guess maybe we would, but it's going to be a lot different in terms of these very cheap things you see at the store, 25% of the store. This isn't communism where all of the items are going away and it's just simple, basic items, obviously, because we care about creativity, we care about quality, but it does mean that things will be more expensive. And honestly, the end summary of all of this is that this is going to happen anyways. We will inevitably win because what system we're in now is flawed to the point of failure. Like, it will fail. It's going to take a long time to fail, and it won't happen overnight, but it will slowly collapse because of this one thing. And this one thing is that the quality of items continues to get lower as we don't care about hold up, I gotta get out of the way again, I think. There's no way to get out of the way, and I'm in a blind spot. Oh wait, no, I think they're way over there. Okay, cool. But because of the quality continuing to go down and quantity continuing to rise, if anything were to happen to the supply chain, the logistical supply chain, there will be no, like, the quantity will be cut in half, and then people will have a problem getting those goods in the first place. And now that cheap ass shitty good is now the highest quality thing in the market, and it will continue to go lower and lower until the technology isn't even there or preserved anymore to even have it. And you may say, well, how would you use the technology for scissors? Okay, at a certain point, there will be like, this is the most extreme example. It probably won't happen directly to scissors, okay? But there will be a point where it's no longer accessible to most because the resource is already used because the population is so big, or the technology will be lost because there was no reason to continue the quality to preserve it. An example of this is going to the moon. Everyone knows this already. We haven't 100% lost the technology to go to the moon, but we've lost the quality of our country to go to the moon for what essentially is no reason at all, just to flex. And we've lost that because nobody cares. We'd rather have the quantity of flying people to the stratosphere to pretend they're in space, to go to space, whatever else, just for, more people to go there than some people to go to the moon and achieve things for humanity. Same thing with Mars. It's not achievable yet. There's literally one person trying to push for it, Elon Musk. And there's a lot of problems with him too, but whatever. My point still stands that these pushes for innovation are minimalized because of the culture we live in, because of how society is structured now. So this proves my point. It will inevitably get slower as we go on because it's already low, and that's the way it's set up. Freedom of speech. Well, I don't know what angle is better to show you guys half the time. I just got to show you guys one side or the other. Okay, freedom of speech is gone. Like, this is what I was thinking about the other day. If you want to be a freedom of speech advocate, okay? Because there's apparently limits to it, right? And you want to be one of these guys that tests the limits. Look at all this trash. Come on, society, we can do better than that. I am in like one of the areas where all the water flows when it rains, but still, come on. Look how, there's so much, man. Okay, so if you were to test freedom of speech, right? There's now limits to it because speech is dangerous. It's always been dangerous. It was the principal reason of why we got it, because freedom of speech is dangerous. And it's been slowly taken away. The key examples I thought of were online and in private businesses. You can't go in somewhere and just like disturb the peace, okay? But wouldn't that apply to all speech that's disliked? Like, inevitably this goes down the rabbit hole of everything that isn't the status quo is a problem. Obviously, other countries have already found this out, and online speech laws are like more horrible than they've ever been. And it's only getting worse. They're disguising it by saying, oh, age verification, so that they can ID everyone. And now we're having to confront like the whole world one-on-one, like 1v the whole world, because of our freedom of speech. myself as an example. I'd rather be an anon account on Twitter. At least I could hide behind something. And I used to be a multiple different accounts, but I was like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna put my foot out before they can push me to it. I'm just gonna do what they wanted me to do before they could force me to. And that maybe isn't the right option, but whatever, I'm gonna get ahead of it and then we can see what happens. So the idea of free speech is completely gone, because if the only place you're allowed to say what you really feel is when no one hears it, it's exactly like the story of the tree falling in the woods. If no one heard the tree fall in the woods, did it even happen? Probably not. Or I mean, like, it's, you know, that's the psychological question, right? It may have not even fell, right? If no one heard it, how do you know it fell? Same thing if you said an opinion and no one heard it. What does it matter? That's what I would say. If you have an opinion, you're shouting in an empty room, no camera, no one around, and you're saying, I'm using my freedom of speech to say it. You're really not. You had nothing. You did nothing of value by yelling in an empty room, unless you're trying to convince yourself. But even then, how's that gonna work for you? So, was the idea of freedom of speech inevitably going to lead down this path? I haven't read enough of what our founding fathers said about it, but we can obviously imply that the founding fathers did not want it to get this far, where nobody respects freedom of speech. Nobody respects any of the Constitution, if we're being completely honest. And I personally haven't thought of solution for this, because to an extent, you shouldn't be allowed to yell fire in a movie theater. You shouldn't be allowed to say things that are going to corrupt society fully. But my opinion of what corrupting society is versus the status quo is a lot different. So how do we find some sort of ultimatum to solve that? And honestly, there may not be one, and we have to recognize that. But at the same time, okay, I think I gotta get back down in this ditch. But at the same time, we have to find a solution for this. So, I mean, let me think real quick. Let me think. Okay. When honestly, the only solution is going to have to come naturally, and it's going to have to be, I mean, all I can think of is again, raising IQ of the overall population, simply because raising the IQ itself will allow people to understand, and I know I've been using this word a lot, but the nuance of the situation. Got to put my glasses on real quick, because I'm stepping in mud now, and I don't know what's happening in front of me. I have poor eyesight because of blue lights and poor nutrition in my early years. So glasses on. All right. Sorry, my beta eyesight is existing, but it's okay. I was trying to get natural sunlight to correct it, but it's working a lot slower than I wanted it to. So here we are. So raising IQ for the whole society might give a slight advantage. That's why I believe that this freedom of speech principle was created in the first place, because American colonialists were high enough IQ to understand these principles and create them. But I guess we didn't maintain a high enough IQ as a society to maintain the principles that they gave us. Obviously, sweating up a storm, but obviously they didn't know that this was going to happen. Maybe they had more optimism for the future and just thought it wouldn't happen. But obviously now we know, so now we can go ahead, and when we do create our own, oh, look at this thing, bro. Okay, wait, let me flip the camera. This is a dead animal or something like that. Look at that. There's like hands on it. There's a skull. What animal is that? Let me know if you know what animal this is, because it looks like a lizard. What? What the heck? It has a tail. Possum, maybe? Maybe it's a possum. Honestly, it kind of looks like one. And see, and that's a crazy thing, because you know what? If some homeless person drinks, at some point when it was decaying, some homeless person drinks water downstream, they probably got like insanely sick. I'm pretty sure that's how that works, right? Crazy. Okay. All right. So yeah, now we know that we have to have some sort of ultimatum, like thicker ultimatum than what originally was had by the founding fathers in order to preserve this for 1,000 years. Hate speech laws, the age verification thing are all proof what I'm saying is true. It's just not attainable or like preservable at this point for society. And that's a huge problem. Huge. There's a mosquito stuck in my blood. Okay, my bad. Let me refocus this. All right, cool. Okay. All right, next topic, trees. All right. I might throw some tree footage in here. Let me show you this one real quick. This tree right here is a pretty tall tree, right? Pretty big. How long do you think it took for that to grow? How long do you think these larger trees around me took to grow? Well, most of the largest trees in your area are like 200, 300 years old. And they were specifically picked because they were decided not to be chopped down when us humans first originally saw them, right? And the thing is that they didn't decide to preserve those for any reason other than the same reason when you see new construction homes, they keep some of the smaller trees. They literally had no reason that they selected those trees in a lot of cases. And it's just been so long that they've been preserved that they're big now. The problem is that these giant trees, those were considered baby trees when humans first came around. Those, like, do we genuinely know a tree's lifespan when they can survive hundreds of years and we decided to chop so many of them down? Like, sure, we can figure it out. But realistically, our environment is not relatively normal because of how much forestry we've done. And you say, well, the trees are like, because the main status quo of this discussion is that there's trees in the first place. They say, oh, we need to have reforestry. We need to regrow these trees as they come around because we can't have places with no trees. Yes, but then there's the second problem. And you can see this in northeastern states. There's like squares, right? So it's like, what is it called? Acres of land, right? Square mileage. They cut down one square, if you look on the map, and then they wait 10 years and then they cut it down again. So they repeat the process every time. And this is so that it has 10 years to regrow. So they do this in like a checkered pattern sort of angle, so that there's always trees in some areas and the natural environment is somewhat preserved. The problem is that nobody has accounted how giant trees affect this. If you have a 300-year-old tree with its roots spanning so much longer than a 30 or 40-year-old tree, you realize that that is so key to the environment around it. And it changes everything. And no one wants to acknowledge that. And you go around in your local park and you say, wow, I'm in nature. This is how nature was intended to be without humans. Wrong. It looks completely different. Again, sorry to burst your bubble. So maybe the better idea is that we push for 1 out of every 10 trees to just never be touched, never be cut down, and we work around them. Because if we don't, we're screwing things up a lot more. And you'll see on this left side of me how the environment plays a role when trees aren't strong enough. These trees are knocked down. Okay, this one coming into frame right now. They're knocked down. And there's a problem with this. If there was a giant tree right ahead of it that was 300 years old, okay, would these trees have been knocked down? We don't know. And did those trees exist before or not? I genuinely don't know, but I do know, like, you look up oldest trees in wherever you live, they're a lot bigger than even those trees where you say, wow, this one's 100 years old, this one's probably 200 years old. They're a lot bigger than that. At least some of them, because like I said, in the position that like my area's in, those trees were just baby trees when people first got here. Or like not even later than when people got here. So it's just another case of, you know, it's portrayed in the media, it's in the science books, stuff like that, just from the imagery. And that's what sticks with people. And then people don't realize that isn't technically the world that is without humans. And luckily it's something we can bring back, but people have to be aware. So that's why I'm making this video. Okay, so trees. I'll put some footage of some big trees that I've seen, and we can assume the age. And then I want you to think, well, what is that truly the biggest tree or not? I mean, like sequoias in Sequoia National Park are huge, but that is the type of tree, the species of tree. But even then, that's an interesting one because you see the pictures from the park and stuff like that, and those trees are so much wider. You could drive a car through them. They cut like holes into some of them, and a couple of them are still around, like 2 maybe. At least the stumps, I think. I don't even know if the trees are alive. I don't remember. And it's like, okay, so you're telling me without human interference, some of those trees could have still existed? Like, so those were the normal trees. And now all these other ones are baby trees. Shouldn't be that way, man. I want to see giant trees, and you will never be able to see that in your lifetime because of the faults of our forefathers. So we should at least have the decency and respect to not do that to our kids. And if you're from the future watching this and we failed, I tried, man. I tried. If you're watching this from the future and we succeeded, let's go, baby, we did it. But we don't know. I mean, I don't know. So hopefully I'm gonna aim for the fact that we did it. I will hope I'm successful in this. Anyways, what else does this apply to? What else are we not seeing that is supposed to be normal around us? Are you enjoying the trail that I'm on? Have you seen anything in the background that I missed? Because earlier when I was walking through here, I saw a fox. I didn't even know fox existed in my region. And yeah, I saw one. Isn't that awesome? I think so. Let me make sure my mic's on. Great. All right. So this is the point of the video where I'm gonna stop discussing our topics and just go on rambling. So if you enjoyed the video, drop a like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think about all of these 3 topics. This will be a longer video. Hopefully you're enjoying it. And now I'm just gonna go about a vlog sort of way. So stick around if you want to enjoy what's been going on in terms of goals for the future of Atlantis, okay? So first off, I've restarted my journey with avoiding PUFA. It's extremely hard, but I think because I'm on a calorie deficit, because I'm trying to look smacks in a way, and I'll explain that in a bit, I think it's possible just because I don't have to eat as much. I'm basically just going to be eating, and when I say this, I mean just the big foods, potatoes, eggs, chocolate milk. I've been having goat milk mixed with orange juice, tons of orange juice, cheese, pork, depending on like salami, but like really depending on where I get it from, because I don't want to eat like seed oil pork that you know, the pigs were only ate like trash or seed oils, right? And this is so that I can be healthy while trying to be on a calorie deficit, so I can get a little bit more lean without losing my hair, right? And then yeah, so that I can look smacks. And the only reason I'm doing that is because I don't want to be older and have to commit to it. I think now is the time that I just need to like go 110%, get exactly what I want in terms of physique and health. And while I'm still like broke from YouTube and stuff, because I don't make any money on this, at least not yet. I haven't hit enough hours watched. So if you've been watching my videos, thank you. Like, I genuinely appreciate it, and I genuinely love you. And if I get this down while I'm broke, it should be so much easier to do when I have money. And like I've said before, the only things I spend my money on is content and health. The last thing I spent my money on that was not food was this shirt right here from Goodwill. I got 3 shirts from Goodwill for $3.50 or something like that. I don't buy normal clothes unless it's socks or underwear, and even then, all of my clothes is 100% cotton. Well, that's actually a lie. Most of my clothes actually isn't, but I'm starting to transition to 100% cotton. And anything that, oh, here's a new thing that I'm gonna make a video on, like as a semi-joke. Okay, new health trend, like soul bra type health trend. If you have any sort of shorts that have like some sort of polyester on it, like, you know, like workout wear, we're all gonna rip holes right in the middle of it and let our balls hang, because you don't want them constricting your balls, right? So I think I'm gonna start that. I hope you guys enjoyed the cat video I put out. I hope that was a little controversial, so it got some views. I haven't even posted it yet, so hopefully that goes well. And I'm really enjoying going to these parks. I think summer awakened my Atlantean genes. The sun brought out my drive again. Something about the sun is like making me want to push for more, and some other things in life, but I'll keep that part private. I still have the dream of owning an RV, living off a plot of land, however big or small, that's my own, then just making videos all day. I would do it all day, bro. I enjoy it so much now. It was a little nerve-wracking at first, but now I really think I'm getting the hang of it, and I'm really enjoying this whole process. So hopefully it goes well. Anyways, those are the main thoughts I've had. And again, I just want to say I appreciate everyone that's been tuning in, especially everyone on Twitter. You guys are like family to me at this point. And my family's still growing. Anyone new? What was that? I heard water, but I don't know what that was. Okay. It might have been my water bottle now that I think about it. Okay, well, anyways, anyone on Twitter that like interacts with me, all of my mutuals, and I follow like almost everyone back, unless you speak like a completely different language, or you're just posting like really negative stuff. I try to follow everyone back. I kind of miss some people, but I appreciate you guys like so much more than you guys even know. And I think about you guys all day, not in like a weird way, but like kind of a weird way, where I'm like, damn, like each individual person like pops up in my head, and I'm like, this person is so unique and such an, like, I don't know, I just contemplate how you guys are individual people, and yet we have connections that no one else has ever had the privilege of before. And it's so cool because we have so much potential connecting and doing something. But you know, I like to keep my I've learned to keep my online relationships purely like not work related, but like I want to grow. I can't do online gossip. I can't do online negativity where it's like, you know, just bringing crabs in a bucket, bringing others down. I can't do it. We have so many I'm coming up with so many new ideas, so many new things that we can try. Look at this tree right here. Holy, hold up. Let's get a different view of this. Okay, this is so much better. than the 5G tower all the way across from me right now. But giant tree, exactly what I'm talking about. How old do you think it is? That's probably only 70 years old. What happened, man? What happened? But yeah, I've been enjoying this. I've been enjoying connecting with nature, connecting with ideas and letting them come to me naturally, as well as like if you aren't able to connect with nature, I strongly suggest you do this. When you go to bed tonight and your eyes close and you're about to fall asleep, you're going to have unique and creative ideas. Before you fall asleep, do not let yourself fall asleep. Write it down in your phone, then go to bed. You're gonna have at least one. It may be music, it may be something you need to do, it may be something completely irrelevant to most things, but write it down. That's if you don't have nature to connect in, where you can sit down and think, if you don't have traffic, where you're writing on your notes on your phone, if you don't have a space where you can let thoughts come into your head, then do it before you sleep. And you don't need to clear your head. What you do is you think of one topic and you let every idea just roll into your head, okay? And then from there, every idea rolling in, just let yourself think. Just let yourself do it. Most of the time we're trying to regulate our thoughts into what we're working on, but since you're laying in bed and you're trying to sleep, just let them come to you. And honestly, let them be more nonfiction than fiction. Like, try to aim on the nonfiction side. Imagine aesthetics that you enjoy. Imagine fantasy worlds, your dream vacation. And then from there, if a random thought outside of that comes in, enjoy it. Know that it's in your head. If it's negative, say, I'm letting go of this thought in peace, okay? And let it just imagine it just floating out of your head and dissipating into the air. It will genuinely help. All right, but that's gonna be it, guys. I'm at the end of my trail. So like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, hope you enjoyed. Peace.